her and stole my coat. That's alright till I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She is a curtain, 1, 2, 3. Please tell me who is she? Albert Finney says he loves her, all the boys are fighting for her. Knock on the door and ring that bell. Oh, my true love, are you well? Out she comes as white as snow, rings on her fingers and bells on her toes. Oh, Jenny Murphy says she'll die. She doesn't get the fellow with the roving eye. Tell me, Mom, when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Do my hair and stole my coat. That's alright till I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She is a curtain, 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is she? Apple pie, she'll get her own life by and by. When she gets a lot of her own, won't tell her now when she gets home. Let them all come as they will, it's Albert Finney she loves still. Tell me, Mom, when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. My hair and stole my coat, but that's alright, so I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She's a curtain, 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is she? My Aunt Jill, she called me in. She gave me tea out of her wee tin, half a penny pot with sugar on top, and 3 wee lumps out of her wee shop.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much to Tartan Riot for introducing the Shebeen tonight. Good evening, everybody. I hope we're all doing really well. Tell me where you're joining from. Tell me what is in your glass. We are here tonight because this is the 17th of September, which means we are exactly 6 months away from St. Patrick's Day, the biggest date in the Irish calendar, arguably the biggest date globally for a lot of people in Irish diaspora all across the world. More importantly, we are 6 months away from hosting Whiskey Bus 3. Now, if it is your first time joining us here, you are very, very welcome. If you haven't joined in a while, you might be thinking, Barry Chandler is looking very different these days. That facial reconstruction surgery and hair transplant has gone very well. For those of you who are new here, my name is Lauren McMullan. I am taking over the Shebeen tonight from Barry with Irish Whiskey Experiences. So you're all very, very welcome here. I'm seeing a lot of very familiar faces. I'm seeing Paul joining us from Cork. I saw Johnny in New York, so we've got Cork to New York. We've got Greg in Florida. We have Julie joining us from Columbus. Jeff Timmy's joining us as well. It's great to see what's in your glass. We've got some lovely, lovely liquid flying around. I see a few Stories and Sips dumbbells. I also have that in my lineup for tonight as well. Strategically have picked 3 whiskies, or yes, 3 whiskies in which their bottles and their brands are green. So I have Pars Rye, which is in my glass for the minute, which most of you know has become one of my most reached for whiskies. We also have McConnell's 5-year blend, and then we have, of course, the Stories and Sips Dumbbells 19-year-old single malt. So I think I just saw Tony say there, I'm having no audio problems. Listen, this is my first time hosting the Shebeen solo. And second of all, we still haven't found a sponsor, an IT sponsor yet. So bear with me and go easy on me. But basically, everyone, if it is your first time joining, or if you haven't joined us in a while, as I said, I'm taking over the Shebeen tonight with Irish Whiskey Experiences. So Irish Whiskey Experiences is a company which aims to bring you closer to the places, the people and the pours of Irish whiskey through unparalleled access to the brands and to the people that make those brands very special. So Irish Whiskey Experiences was kind of founded on the basis of 2 sold out whiskey buses, which we'll talk about a lot tonight. 2 sold out whiskey buses last year in 2022, and of course this year, 2023. The Irish Whiskey Experiences is, of course, co-founded by Barry Chandler and Anthony Sheehy, 2 people who I admire and respect greatly. And I'm very grateful to have joined them as manager of Irish Whiskey Experiences back in June. So we're here tonight, halfway to St. Patrick's Day. We're having a bit of a party and we're going to talk whiskey buses. So we only have five on Whiskey Bus 3. We only have 5 spaces left. 5 spaces, and then it's full. So our aim for tonight is to fill those 5 spaces and celebrate halfway to St. Patrick's Day and have a bit of crack. So many of you, I see a lot of you here on here who have just recently joined Whiskey Bus 2. We're not long finishing that up, about 3 weeks ago. I see Barry in the comments chanting, fill that bus. That is our aim. And also, as a little bit of an incentive, and because we look after our Whiskey Bus guests, anyone who joins an Irish Whiskey Experience, we look after you. We're also going to do a raffle tonight as well. And that raffle will be exclusive to Whiskey Bussers on Whiskey Bus 3. So anyone who has already booked a place on Whiskey Bus 3, this is open to you. And also for anyone who may click that reserve a space button on our website tonight, www.irishwhiskeyexperiences.com, if you need pointed there. You will be entered into a raffle. The top prize is a bottle of Gold Spot. And then we also have a couple more prizes in there as well, which will be Irish Whiskey Experiences swag bags. So despite the fact that we've got an amazing itinerary, we've also got some great surprises in there as well, prizes for you to win. Now, before we move on, I want to talk a little bit about Whiskey Bus 3 and the itinerary for Whiskey Bus 3 as well, because we have 7 jam-packed days all across the beautiful Wild Atlantic Way, the Wild West of Ireland. And for those of you who either haven't been involved in a Whiskey Bus before, or you aren't familiar with the Whiskey Bus at all, the Whiskey Bus is essentially 7 days of behind the scenes exclusive access to brands, brand founders, blenders, distillers, really access that is essentially off the beaten track for that brand or that distillery. And you have behind the scenes access to areas and experiences that most members of the public don't actually even know exists with a brand or a certain distillery. So we really want to bring you closer, as I said, to the people, the places and the pours that make Irish whiskey so special. And that's exactly what we do on the Whiskey Bus. Later on, after we talk to our wonderful band who introduced the show, Tart and Riot, after we speak to them, we will also have a very good friend of our community joining us to have a chat, Troy Stuckey, who is, of course, founder of the Rambling Inn, a mobile Irish pub. And he is, of course, a 2-time Whiskey Bus goer. And my aim tonight is to mildly coerce him into possibly joining Whiskey Bus 3 as well, because I know he's tempted. So he will be there to give first-hand experience of a bus too. So not just coming from our mouths, but from someone who has lived it firsthand as well, twice. So he'll be coming on a little bit later on. So Whiskey Bus 3. We are 6 months away from Whiskey Bus 3. It will take place next year from the 15th to the 22nd of March 2024, all across Ireland's beautiful Wild West. So we will begin our week in Limerick, moving on to Galway, and then finishing in Westport. And even this week as well, we have had chats with certain brands in Galway. We're not going to reveal exactly what they were just yet. But when we reveal what we have planned with those brands, you are definitely going to want to have your place reserved on that bus. And I will leave it there. Some really unique experiences that have never been done before. And we'll be the first to make the most of them as well. Greg says Gold Spot in a backpack. Absolutely. Absolutely. Barry's famous bag that he so secretly hid from us for the whole week. We thought it was just a normal laptop bag. Actually turned out to be full of whiskey. But there we are. Gold Spot in the bag. If you win a bottle, you can put it in there. We might throw in one of those bags as well. We'll see. Dave, I'm going to have to book onto one of these buses. Absolutely, David. You're more than welcome. I've joined your train before, so it's only right that you come and join our bus. I think that's fair. So the itinerary then, obviously we're not going to go into the full kind of rundown of what that might look like, but when you arrive in Ireland, just imagine being whisked off to a castle, which I know many of the people in this group are very fond of us taking over a castle, whisked off to a castle, treated like kings and queens for the evening in none other than Napogue Castle itself. So for our first night, we will be joined there by Middleton blender, Dave McCabe, who will be attending dinner with us. We'll be dining like kings and queens in the castle itself, as I said, and also sipping on the very whiskey whose name was inspired by the castle, Napogue Castle. We will also be, for that night as well, cracking open a whiskey that you could only describe as a liquid time capsule, Napogue 1951, which has been aged for 36 years in sherry casks. That is an absolute gold dust bottle of whiskey, and we're going to crack it open for your first night in Ireland. So you always say you want a castle, we're giving you a castle, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing for that very first evening. So a fantastic way to welcome you to Ireland, everyone together, having a bit of fun, sipping a bit of whiskey with Middleton royalty in there as well. So no other way to kick off the week. Richard has said night one is worth the cost of the whole bus. There you are. Absolutely. We couldn't have started it off in any other way. Of course, our first 3 nights are spent in Limerick as well, so a beautiful way to start off our bus. Day 2 then, we'll be joined by Tobin Gate founder Nick Ryan. He will guide us through Limerick, which is absolutely packed with whiskey history. Of course, it is the home, the origin of the Irish coffee. And he will guide us through a little bit of whiskey history, how he has been kind of redefining and rebuilding the Tobin Gate brand. He'll walk us through up to King John's Castle, where we'll maybe have a sneaky whiskey. Barry's whiskey bag could possibly be brought out for that one as well. And then we'll also be soaking up the pre-St. Patrick's Day atmosphere in some of Limerick's most loved whiskey bars like Flannery's, Mother Mac's there as well. So really just a chance. It's so unusual to be in Ireland before St. Patrick's Day and really just feel that atmosphere. Most people go to Dublin, they head straight to Dublin. Honestly, you do not want to be near Dublin in or around St. Patrick's weekend. I've done it many a time and you can't move, you genuinely can't. So we're taking you to a more authentic experience for pre and on the day of St. Patrick's Day and post St. Patrick's Day as well. So we'll be avoiding most of the crowds and soaking up the beautiful west coast of Ireland. So Nick will be with us for all of day 2. And then we couldn't host the Shebeen without mentioning this. On St. Patrick's Day itself, all of our bus will be loaded on to the back of a flatbed truck with safety precautions taken as well for over 30 people. And we will be joined by none other than the founder of JJ Corrie, Louise McGuan. So she is staying in Ireland, especially for Whiskey Bus 3. Louise, of course, the founder of the JJ Corrie brand. She is usually in the US, usually New York, around St. Patrick's Day to build her brand, of course, and activities around St. Patrick's Day with JJ Corrie. She has said that she will stay, and she is staying in Ireland, specifically for us and to host us on St. Patrick's Day. So we will be taking part in a parade in a tiny village, the tiny village of Kilrush in County Clare, probably to circle around about 10 times on the back of a branded trailer. But it'll be an amazing experience, once in a lifetime, I'm sure, for many people, certainly for us as well. And it's not to be missed. It'll be an amazing day. And it'll be great crack. I cannot wait for that as well. A really unique experience. And of course, we'll be heading to her farm afterwards as well, and taking part in a blending whiskey experience and having lunch on the farm as well. So, but that is the cherry on top of our 7-day adventure on the west coast of Ireland. Kristen, I know you're Louise's biggest fan. I think you've told her quite a few times. I think she might have a restraining order against you at this point. We don't know. But that will be our St. Patrick's Day. If anyone has ever been in Ireland already for St. Patrick's Day, do let us know. Do tell us where you spent it. As I said, most people tend to head towards Dublin. I was in Dublin this year for St. Patrick's Day, and it was just absolute carnage. So we're avoiding that. We'll be flying in and out of Shannon Airport, which hopefully shouldn't be quite as busy. Dee says you're her second fan. She's a popular woman, let me tell you, rightly so. If you have moved on to a second whiskey, folks, do let me know. I'm considering pouring myself a drop of McConnell's here for the next section before I give you a little bit of a brief rundown of St. Patrick's Day itself. And then we'll have another song. We'll try and not go too long before having another song. Tom, no, I hope Barry's microphone curse doesn't pass on to me. Usually it's my laptop, in fairness, it's not my microphone, but we're keeping our fingers crossed. We hope the Irish luck is on our side tonight as well. Very quick rundown, everyone, on a little bit of a history of St. Patrick's Day. I actually, when I was doing a little bit of a deeper research into the day itself, found a lot of really interesting facts about the day and how it's celebrated and how it came to be celebrated in the States, in North America, on a wider scale, and in Ireland too. So there we have the man himself, St. Patrick, pictured there. He is, of course, the patron saint of Ireland. He was a Romano-British Christian missionary born into a relatively wealthy family around the 4th century. At the age of 16, he was kidnapped by Irish raiders, brought to Ireland and sold into slavery. His famous first stop in Ireland was Slemish Mountain, which is about 40 kilometres north of Belfast, which is where he is said to have settled first. And he, of course, went there to herd sheep. He was a shepherd. He tended to sheep, and in his loneliness, throughout many lonely nights on Slemish Mountain, he turned to prayer and he turned to God. Now, he eventually escaped and went back to Britain, where he went on to become a priest, and he subsequently returned to Ireland to convert the Irish pagans to Christianity. So the metaphor that you often hear is that St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland. The snakes are a metaphor essentially for heathen, for pagan practices. He died on March 17th, of course, which is why that's the date that we celebrate him bringing Christianity to Ireland. Now, when you come to Ireland across the US on St. Patrick's Day, you will see people drowned in green, and more specifically drowned in shamrocks. And the reason why people dress in shamrocks on St. Patrick's Day, and then subsequently where all the green came from, of course, as well, is because St. Patrick is said to have used the shamrock, which is a 3-leaved plant, to convert the Irish pagans and talk about the Holy Trinity. So that's where the shamrock wearing essentially came from. And then, of course, the shamrock and green is on a wider scale now, of course, associated with Ireland as well. Believe it or not, I think most people know this actually anyway, St. Patrick's Day is much more celebrated outside of Ireland than in Ireland itself, largely down to the Irish diaspora. But it actually the St. Patrick's Day parades began in North America in the 18th century. And they actually didn't really filter into Ireland or really begin in Ireland until the 20th century. In fact, St. Patrick's Day wasn't made a public holiday in Ireland until 1903, when it became a public holiday due to an act of the United Kingdom Parliament, which was led by an Irish MP called James O'Mara. And the first ever St. Patrick's Day parade in Ireland was also in Waterford as well. So 1903. So that's when it really started to become celebrated and become a thing in Ireland. It was really boosted many years later by Tourism Ireland's Global Greening Initiative that originated in 2010, where they encouraged really iconic landmarks all across the world to turn green for St. Patrick's Day. Also tying in, of course, sustainability, sustainable practices with travel as well, with St. Patrick's Day at the forefront. So since 2010, over 300 significant landmarks in 50 countries have turned green for St. Patrick's Day. Now, We don't need reminded that we're the best people in the world very often, but things like that just highlight it. When we see the whole world turn green on St. Patrick's Day to celebrate the Irish and Ireland as a whole. A few facts. One of them I knew, two of them I actually didn't. So 3 interesting facts that I picked out from a deep dive into St. Patrick and St. Patrick's Day is that it is the most celebrated national festival in the world. I did know that, again. Not that we need our egos to be any more inflated than they already are, but that just solidifies it. Second interesting fact is that Chicago River, which is, of course, I'd say the most iconic example of the world turning green for St. Patrick's Day. It has been dyed green since 1962. It was the Plumbers Union put a very small bit of green dye into the river and turned it green, and it's been like that ever since. And then St. Patrick's Day is actually a public holiday in the Caribbean island of Montserrat. Again, there's a lot of history related to that, which we won't go into, but essentially it's because thousands of Irish people, again, fled Ireland to go anywhere, the Americas, the Caribbean, anywhere, as part of the Cromwellian conquest. And they ended up in the Caribbean, and that's one of the reasons why it is a national holiday there as well, which I did not know, and I thought it was very interesting. So that is St. Patrick's Day. That's why we celebrate it, why he is the patron saint of Ireland, and why the whole world is greenwashed in March every single year. Now, to give me a chance to have a sip of whiskey, I think we should have another song. What do we think? I think we'll bring on the wonderful guys from Tartan Riot, who after this song, they might even play 2 back to back, who knows? We'll see how they're feeling. They're on whiskey. I've got them on whiskey for this evening as well, which is great. So we'll bring those guys on for another song or 2, and then we'll have a proper chat with them. We'll introduce them after they finish their song. How are you doing, guys? You all right?
Hey, guys.
All good, yeah. All good.
Whiskey going down well?
Certainly is.
Whiskey's delicious. It's not in the jar, but it's in the glass anyway.
Listen, what about a wee whiskey in the jar then? Will that be the second song of the evening?
Well, we'll do that song now. We're going to do another one, but we may do whiskey in the jar because it is a whiskey.
It's up to you. This is your show, everybody's. It's not mine, so.
All set? As I was going over the Cork and Kerry mountains, I met with Captain Farrow and his money he was counting. I first produced my pistol and then took out my rapier. Stand and deliver, for I am of all the sea. Whack for my daddy-o, whack for my daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I counted out his money, it made a pretty penny. I put it in me pocket and I brought it home to Jenny. She swore that she'd love me and never would she leave me. But the devil take that woman, for you know she'll trick you easy. With Shebeen and whack for my daddy-o, whack for my daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Well, if anyone can help me, it's me brother in the army. If I could find a station down in Cork and in Killarney, and if you'd come and join me, we'd go rolling in Kilkenny. And indeed you'll treat me better than my darling sporting Jenny. For Shebeen and whack for my daddy-o, whack for my daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I take delight in the juice of the barley, and courting pretty fair lads down in Corgan and Killarney. Wish your rain on me, on my eye. Whack for my daddy-o, whack for my daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Oh, wish your rain on me, on my eye. Whack for my daddy-o, whack for my daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar.
Everyone, give them a big round of applause virtually in the emojis. I see a lot of claps and a lot of clap hand emojis coming in there. Fantastic. Folks, if you are just joining us, welcome to the Shebeen. We are here this evening to celebrate the halfway point to St. Patrick's Day, one of the most, the most celebrated festival in the world, national festival. And more importantly, we are halfway to hosting Whiskey Bus number 3, which will take place along Ireland's beautiful wild Atlantic coast from the 15th to the 22nd of March next year, encapsulating St. Patrick's Day in there as well. We only have 5 seats left on that bus and we want to fill them tonight. We want those seats gone before we finish this live stream at 4 a.m. I'm only joking. I don't know when that'll be, but it won't be 4. Folks, I am going to now properly introduce the wonderful band that we have playing for us this evening. We have Tart and Riot, who are a County Antrim based band. Tonight they're actually playing from a restaurant in Hollywood, which is about 10 minutes outside Belfast. They've kicked everybody out so that they can entertain us. So a big credit to them and fair play to them for that. So folks, thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to give the audience a kind of introduction to yourselves and how you came about?
Well, we're a group of friends who started doing some gigs over lockdown and crazy times, and it turned out that people started coming out on the street corners and filming us and streaming us, and people started watching us in Boston and Australia and that kind of stuff. And as the regulations eased, we ended up getting requests to go and play gigs here and weddings there, and we sort of had to sit down at that point and say, is this what we really want? That's because we were only doing it for a bit of crack to start off with. So we did, and 3.5 years later, here we are, and we've played in Portugal, we've played in Holland, we've played all over Ireland, and we normally have a 4 or 5 piece bass guitar and full set of drums as well. We sometimes do trad sessions like this, where it's a stripped back acoustic set like we're doing now. And as far as we're concerned, it's just really have boots, will play, and let's see where it goes.
He forgot to mention he plays the bagpipes.
Yes.
Very good. And so you kind of describe yourselves as being quite a unique sort of blend of Irish and Scottish music. So you play a lot of kind of classics, rock and pop classics, but with a little bit of an Irish and Scottish twist. Where was your kind of main source of inspiration for that, and kind of that to be your main sort of identity?
I think we're all into a variety of different types of music, and as a piper, I've been playing the pipes for years and years. Played in a pipe band, still do, and I've always got a kick out of playing rock and roll as well as your traditional Irish and Scottish. And the lads here all feel the same. And what we tried to do really was, I suppose, a bit like Fatboy Slim, if anyone else has heard of him. We've tried to take 2 tunes that have absolutely no right to be together and throw them together. And that's why we'll go from an Irish lament or a Scottish lament into a rock and roll tune from AC/DC or Guns N' Roses or Bon Jovi or whatever. And it does. The timing works, and that's really, the more outrageous the better.
That's fantastic. Yeah, Fatboy Slim. Yeah, what a throwback now. Is there anyone else you kind of look to? I think I remember. Go ahead.
I'm saying I'm too young to remember him, but someone told.
There you are. You also mentioned as well, AC/DC, and Dropkick Murphys was another inspiration for you as well, wasn't it?
Murphys as well, yes, indeed.
Yeah, and to be fair, there's a Scottish group called the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yes.
They
Yes.
singing, they would do instrumental, but again, they do the Scottish laments and then they go into the rock and roll, but they wouldn't do as much singing as we would do. But yeah, a couple of different sort of, but just, I mean, like Brendan and I would have played a lot of trad, Scottish and Irish trad, but this is just so different. I love rock and roll as well. I never really thought I would be singing in a band doing it. I'm really, really enjoying that, and mixing it all up. It's quite quirky and different, and I think that's why we're getting the gigs. We're getting asked to go to a lot of festivals and events across Europe and hopefully America, maybe after this little stream, who knows?
Well, listen, I was about to ask you, have you ever been to the States? Have you ever played in the US? Not
Been
yet.
doing them, not to play, no.
Yeah, not professionally playing, no.
No, I haven't.
Just grabbing a karaoke microphone in a bar, maybe after a few pints. That's brilliant. Well, listen. Who knows? After tonight, you may get a few requests. You've already had a request, guys, to follow us around in our whiskey bus, that we're hosting next year as a traveling band. So you're in demand already.
That's perfect.
Tell me this. So you mentioned you've played gigs all across Europe as well. Was your most recent one Portugal? I think that was the one where I kind of first discovered you, was playing in Portugal. So do you want to maybe talk a little bit more about that and kind of how you've got out there and managed to secure these gigs?
Well, we do quite a lot of gigs with a dance group called Celtic Flair, who are also based in Belfast. We actually have two of the girls with us tonight. We were gigging with them earlier on. We're hoping maybe they're going to do a bit of a dance later on to the bagpipes. So we had gone out to the Netherlands last year to play the music for them to dance. This year was the same in Portugal. So that's really how that came about. We play for them, and then they will come and dance with us at our gigs as well.
Fantastic. And how did you come into contact with Celtic Flair then? Was that kind of another sort of Sorry?
Question for you, yeah.
Yeah, we just I think we were I'm looking at the girls across the way here because I've been playing with guys about 5 or 6 years. But yeah, we were in a previous band, and we were looking. We played sort of Irish and Scottish trad stuff, and we were looking just to mix it. And they were a local dance academy, Jordan Dance Academy, and we just made a call, and they come up and started practicing with us. And before we knew it, we were on big stages with them. And I must say, I love playing Irish trad, but it's such a buzz when we're playing, and sometimes there can be like 15 to 20 girls dancing in front of us with the hard shoes. It's like river dance. It's fantastic, and it's so we've been doing it. Well, there was obviously a couple of years where we weren't doing it recently, but certainly 5 years ago, and most we've been catching up and doing some great shows. The Portugal shows were unbelievable. We were live on TV in the local Portugal TV, way in the rural parts of Portugal, and there was 3,000-4,000 at the events. It was amazing,
Wow.
And
and I think
started from us on Alistair's doorstep during lockdown, clapping for the health service. That's where it started,
And annoying the neighbours.
that's amazing. I mean, that's an awful lot to achieve in 3 years as well. I mean, that really is incredible, and it's, I think, testament to how fantastic you are. Certainly as well, it's unbelievable. And I think you've probably found as well, like post kind of COVID, post pandemic, people just have that. They just want to have fun. They have that desire for something that is a little bit different, a bit of crack, and they can let their hair down, have a pint, and listen to a bit of music. So you have all of that. You're perfect,
Thank you, Lauren.
For sure. Folks, why don't we have another tune?
Sure.
If you want to play, what are you thinking? What delights are you going to give us next?
Okay, so I thought we're from County Antrim, as you mentioned, but we're
Excuse me.
You're outnumbered. You're outnumbered, and I'm County Antrim as well. So.
you know the geography. For the guys that don't, we're in a place called Hollywood, but it's Hollywood with an L, and that's where Rory McIlroy is from.
One L.
And it's one L, not two, like the California one. But so it's in County Down, and we're going to sing a song called "The Star of the County Down," and it's a typical Irish song. It's about a beautiful lady.
Fantastic. Take it away, guys.
Close to Banbridge Town, in the county down, one morning last July, down a boring green came a sweet calm, and she smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. touchy coaxing, I had to shake myself to see I was really there. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town. No maid I'd seen like that brown collie that I met in the county down. As she onward sped, sure shook my head, I was caught by a feeling of lead. And says I to a passerby, who's the maid with the nut brown hair. He smiled at me and he says he, that's the gem of Ireland's crown. That's Rosie McCann from the banks of the Bann, the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town. No maid I've seen like that brown collie that I met in the county down. She was sure that, and I'll dress in my Sunday clothes, with me shoes shone bright and me hat cocked right, or a smile from my nut brown rose. No pipe I'll smoke, no horse I'll yoke, till my plough is a rust-coloured brown. Till by my own far side sits a smiling bride, the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town. No maid I've seen like that brown collie that I met in the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town. No maid I've seen like that brown collie that I met in the county down. Thank you.
Fantastic, brilliant. You keep bettering yourselves there with every tune, folks. Unbelievable. Welcome everybody. If anyone has just joined, once again, I can see the numbers creeping up. Welcome to the Shebeen. We are live here every Sunday at 7 p.m. EST, midnight Irish time, for all the crack and the chats around Irish whiskey. And tonight especially, we are celebrating the halfway point to St. Patrick's Day. We are 6 months away from the big day. We're also 6 months out from hosting Whiskey Bus 3 from the 15th to the 22nd of March next year along Ireland's Wild Atlantic Way. We have 5 spaces left on the bus, and we want those filled by the end of tonight. You're in for an array of unbelievable experiences, behind the scenes access to distilleries and brands from Limerick up to Galway and to Westport as well, and you don't want to miss it. In a couple of minutes, we're going to hear from a very good friend of our community, Troy, who is the founder of the Rambling Inn, which is a mobile Irish pub. Barry's hard and fast in the comments here with the links. Fantastic, that's great. We'll have another song from Tart and Riot, our wonderful band, which have joined us this evening as well. We'll have another song, maybe actually get the Irish dancers on for the next song, folks, if you're happy with that. We'll get the Irish dancers from Celtic Flair. We have Ellen and Sophie. We'll get those on for a tune and a dance. I might start dancing, who knows. I also saw my very good friend Sarah Kennedy has joined there. She's in Texas at the minute. She's over stateside. Sarah, I'm enjoying a little drop of your McConnell's 5-year green label for St. Patrick's Day in the bottle here. So we're here tonight, as I said, folks, to really emphasize the fact that we're 6 months away from our Whiskey Bus 3. So the Whiskey Bus, again, anyone who's joining and isn't familiar, is a 7-day all-inclusive experience in which we get behind-the-scenes access to the people, the places, and the pours that make Irish whiskey so special. And Whiskey Bus 3 is, as I said, in March next year, and we'll be incorporating some really, really special, never before done experiences there as well. And one of our stops, our next stop after we finish up with JJ Corey in Craic, after we spend 3 nights in Limerick, our next stop is actually Galway. So Galway is very much regarded as a jewel in the Irish crown. It is one of the most popular places to visit in Ireland, certainly one of Ireland's most colourful cities as well. And we will be here 2 days, 2 nights we will be staying in Galway, and we'll be here, of course, 2 days post St. Patrick's Day. So there'll still be such a nice buzz around the city. We'll be sampling some of the incredible pubs that they have there. Sonny Malloy is, of course, being an extremely popular one amongst the Irish whiskey community and further beyond. It's a fantastic city. I haven't been in a good few years now, probably pre-pandemic. So I'm really excited to get back there. And we have been having conversations. I'm not going to reveal everything, but I will say, when you hear what we have planned with the likes of Mickle and a Hascraw, you will want to be on the bus. And if you didn't reserve your place, you'll be wishing you did. What we have planned with those 2 brands has never been done before, one, and is just immersing yourself in such a traditional Irish way. And I'm going to leave it there. That's all I'll say. But they have some brilliant ideas, brilliant plans for us that we're working with them on, and we'll be revealing them in the not so distant future as well. So we're always adding to that itinerary. We're always surprising you and adding sort of little additions into the week where we can and where we see fit. And it'll be an unbelievable couple of nights that we have there. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. So we'll be 2 nights in Galway. It is great listening to me, to Barry, and to Anthony go on about how great the Whiskey Bus is. Of course, we're going to say that. We put the itinerary together. It's much more beneficial for you to hear from someone who has been on not only 1, but 2 whiskey buses. And you'll be able to hear firsthand what it is like to be on a whiskey bus and what it's like to experience things that most other people will never get to experience in their lives, and what it's like to create memories that you will talk about forever and you'll remember for the rest of your life. So without further ado, I've given him a pre-warning. Hope he's ready. I can see him, he's ready. I am going to introduce Troy, who is the founder of Mobile Irish Pub, The Rambling Inn, and 2-time whiskey busser. Welcome, Troy. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I am very good. I see you've got a pint of Guinness there. Is it Guinness?
It's a Guinness. We're not in Cork anymore.
No. You're very firmly in not Cork right now. For sure. Wouldn't be like you to have a Guinness in your hand now. I don't even have. I forgot to get Guinness.
I'll pour you one.
Can't even split the G with you.
For shame.
Letting the side down. Troy, I don't think I need to give you much of an introduction to most people here, because you're a very good friend of ours. You're a very good friend of the Irish Whiskey Fans of America community. You're a great supporter of Irish whiskey experiences. But why don't you start off by giving a brief introduction to yourself and also how and where your inspiration from the Rambling Inn came from?
Oh, yes. So I've been in the Irish community in Connecticut for about 15 years. One of my very good friends, several friends have had and opened bars in New Haven area close to me, Irish pubs. Fell in love with them. The minute you walk in, it just kind of happens. So I stayed pretty involved with them. And when my good friend sold his pub, he wanted to do something different and came to me with the idea for the Rambling Inn. And I said, I can definitely do that. It sounds like a great idea. So that was in 2017. We finished it in 2018, and we've been in business since then. Since January, I've gone full time with it and quit my day job because it's just an amazing thing to do. Have a lot of fun doing it.
Absolutely. And I guess you kind of, obviously it was quite a time to start a business, kind of just on the verge of the pandemic. Have you noticed kind of post pandemic, post COVID world that your kind of busyness levels have gone through the roof? Are people looking for something a little bit out of the ordinary and they want something a little bit different than just going to a pub and having a drink?
Yeah. So, well, during the pandemic, it was quite interesting, the business model we had, because we both had full-time jobs. So during the pandemic, we actually just put the pub away and didn't have to do anything. It was very COVID friendly as far as that was concerned. But when we came out of it, a lot of people that pushed their weddings and events out that were supposed to happen during COVID were definitely looking to have that party. And once again, it was COVID friendly because we're outside. So we didn't have to be inside with the pub. Obviously, we could put in your driveway, and you could still celebrate and have people distance and do the things they need to do. So it actually ended up being a very positive thing. So it was good.
And you just had an event today, didn't you? You were also marking the halfway to St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, we had a little celebration here. Decided to cook some Irish fare and have some friends come out and just celebrate the day. So we're winding down. The pub's a little messy right now. We still have a couple of stragglers hanging out in here, but it was a good time. So we had our local 4-piece acoustic Irish band come in and play some music for us. So they just left about a half hour ago. So it's good.
The guys beside you are getting some behind the scenes access to the Shebeen. Can't complain about that now, eh?
Yeah, we may have another friend of the group hanging out over here. She made the trip down. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who's with you?
Come on, pop your head in.
Go, Lisa.
Lisa, no way! Oh my goodness, another whiskey buzzer. Stop it! Stop it! You know what? These are the moments that I love so much about this community, is that we always gravitate towards each other.
Yes.
You can't get away. That's amazing. Lisa, welcome. You should have said you were coming on. You'd have been more than welcome to sit there with
It was a surprise. It was a surprise.
My plan was to not.
I know. It was a surprise to her too.
It was a surprise to me.
We've got 2 whiskey busters, ladies and gentlemen, that are now joining us. This is amazing. Oh my goodness me. Well, you know what? You've given me a perfect segue into the next question, which was going to be about the whiskey buzz. So, both of you, lovely people, have just more or less come home from a week long, slightly longer for you, Lisa. You were here a little bit longer. Visit to Ireland. So we'll start with you, Troy. If you could sum up the whiskey bus in 3 words, how would you describe it?
I don't even know. I don't even know if it was just. That's a good question. Exceeded expectations. Clearly, I mean, being on Whiskey Just One was awesome. It was kind of one of those things where it was like, how can we top that? And you guys definitely topped it. So, it was definitely an amazing experience. Yeah. So.
And Lisa, what about you?
I mean, everything that Troy said, but unique. I feel like there's nothing else out there like it as far as the experience you get. And as much as we seem like crazy whiskey people, I think I said this somewhere in a post, but I mean, the part that made the week fabulous was all the people, like you guys, everyone on the bus, everyone we met along the way. If it wasn't for the incredible people, I mean, the whiskey would still taste pretty good, but it wouldn't be. It's it's the people that made it, for sure. Yeah.
That's very kind. I echo what you just said there, Lisa, about the whiskey tasting better with good people. I've always said I would still want to be a part of this industry if the whiskey weren't there. Like the amount of people you meet, the incredible people you become friends with, how many friends have been forged not only through the Irish Whiskey Fans of America community, but now more specifically the Whiskey Bus community as well, which is amazing. And it was so great to have both of you there as well. Troy, you're a 2-timer now. You're a 2-time whiskey buzzer. Yeah. Great. I mean, we're going to try and get you to 3. We're going to try very hard. I know you're thinking about it.
I am still on the fence. Believe me, I'd love to go. I'd like to be a three-peat. So we'll see. Maybe if I can. I actually had my lead bartender drive the trailer today. So if we can train her fast enough, then maybe I can take a break and come to Ireland.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely intense training for the next 6 months. That'll be undergoing.
Yeah, if
Absolutely.
there's anything, then I'll come over.
It's a low bar.
Car.
Whiskey has just come up with the best phrase I've ever heard. A three-peat. That's amazing. A three-peat.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Love that. Love that. Three-peat. Amazing. Could you, Troy and Lisa, I'll put the question to both of you. Could you have picked out a moment of the most recent whiskey bus that kind of just you thought, wow, I'm actually living this moment right now and I can't believe it's happening?
Can I have 3 moments?
Go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll go in order. Actually, I put mine up here. A picture with John Teeling and him signing. That went in the bar right away. Proud moment. Awesome to hear the knowledge that man has and his passion that we all share for whiskey. It was amazing to sit with him for that long and have that much time with him. Was just wonderful. Like, yeah, you can't take that back. It's amazing what he knows about whiskey and what he like where the whiskey's going. Was just to hear all that was great. Second moment would be Clonakilty. Those fields and the lunch and the whiskey and the setting and all of it was just like breathtaking and amazing. That entire experience. I do that over and over again, even if like having already done it. And then of course we have to finish with our day at Middleton. I mean, that was just what we experienced. And the funny part about that is that I said to a couple of people, I had that exact same tour from Kevin O'Gorman by myself, and it was amazing in of itself. But once again, the people, so doing it again with everyone, it was just a different experience to have it with people that shared that same passion. So that whole day was just pretty awesome. And knowing that there's a chance that after meeting what's his name from Method and Madness,
Oh, Barrett.
Yeah, Garrett. There's still a chance based on his career path.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Lisa, what about you? You can pick 3 or you can pick 1.
There are also a few, and I mean Clonakilty top. Like that's just the most unique to sit in a barley field drinking the whiskey that came from that very barley. It's no one else does that.
On the water.
On the water.
A barley field on the water.
A beautiful day. Thank you for making the weather perfect.
Yeah.
We have a little thermostat that controls that. We just pull it out every time there's a whiskey bus.
You guys do things other people can't.
Absolutely.
2 years in a row, nonetheless, because the weather for Whiskey Bus 1 was exactly the same. It was perfect. Yeah.
And then, I mean, I'm not, but Lauren on the lead, it was, really to be on a boat like that with, the people that you've been spending so much time with, and then people from other parts of the community and industry, and just I'm also like a sucker, like put me on a boat in the water and it's going to be, but that was amazing. And, it was, it was different. It was special. I think everyone, even people who weren't comfortable on a boat, loved it. So it really, right? Everyone made a giant effort. It was really great. And then for me personally, just seeing the casks were some of my favorite jams at W.D. O'Connell in his warehouse and getting to meet Dahi in person that was a personal awesome experience.
Absolutely. And I think it is hard to pick one. I couldn't have picked one either. Certainly it is a nice mixture, certainly, of the level of experiences on offer. And my favorite night was also the night of the boat. I think it was just so nice to see everyone a little bit more relaxed and informal. It was a nice break from the usual distillery visits as well, certainly, for sure.
Yeah, it was.
Troy, before I take the shine away from you anymore, talking constantly about whiskey buses, I want to highlight a little bit more about the Rambling Inn as well. You work quite closely with some brands, Irish brands that you've partnered with. The one that comes to my mind is Tullamore Dew. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that and kind of how that came about and how those partnerships work? Because I think it's fascinating that you've got to that level as well.
Yeah. So I mean, it helps to have obviously good contacts and friends, but to have a product that they can rely on. We've done a lot of tastings for them. We've set up at liquor stores, and have people come through. And obviously, the giant being Jameson, people walk by, see an Irish pub, and ask if you have Jameson. And then like, no, we have something better. It's a tough sell for him, and he's trying to find any way he can to break into that share that is Jameson. And we do blind taste tests, and they're successful 9 times out of 10 towards the Tully, which is interesting to see. And it works for him, so he keeps having us do these things. We're trying to get to the national level and try to figure out how we can do more things with the brand itself, but we're just really concentrating on the Northeast right now. So, but it's been a lot of fun. Any kind of trade shows that he does where he can bring us in, where the budget allows, he'll definitely do it. So it's really fun to help build that brand or help build Irish whiskey in general. So.
Amazing. Yeah. And I mean, you really are spreading the gospel of Irish whiskey out there. And I think you just mentioned that, like, the one word that's so important is that education, that there are other brands outside of the powerhouses that people can enjoy. And you're certainly doing that one bottle of whiskey at a time. I think it's worth mentioning for those of you who don't know and anyone who's new joining, Troy quite literally traveled to Ireland for 48 hours to collect whiskey for the Rambling Inn. 48-hour trip over, loaded with bottles, and back across the water again.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 30, but I'll take the 48. I missed my flight, so.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you got a free night stay in JJ Sheehy's. Anthony's in the studio at the minute as well. I'll be bringing him on soon. So.
I told them to lock me in the pub, but they put me in a room instead, so they knew it was going on.
Just locked all the doors to the physical taps in the bar themselves. They know what you're like.
It was safe for everyone.
Absolutely. And you do such an array of style of events as well, Troy. You do, as you said, you do weddings, stag parties, everything in between. So really, if anybody is looking for a mobile pub in Connecticut and further afield, you're the place to go for sure.
We'll travel. If you pay me enough, I'll go anywhere.
Well, listen, if we're ever over your side of the pond again with Irish whiskey experiences, who knows what could happen?
Yes, exactly.
Who knows? Little takeover of the Rambling Inn, putting that out there. Barry laughing there in the background, like, what is she promising on this live stream?
I keep dropping the hints. Don't worry, I drop the hints to Barry all the time.
just throwing it out there, just putting it out there.
Ohio's only 8 hours away, so we can.
Barry's just said in the comments he's muting me. Okay, that's me done. Troy, thank you so much. I'll share all the links to your socials and Rambling Inn later on so everyone can give you a follow and give you a bit of love. Lisa, amazing to see you. Thank you for joining. That's great. We get 2 whiskey busters, which is amazing. So thank you both so much. Stick around for more crack, more chats, more whiskey. I think it's time for another song and maybe a bit of an Irish dance with the incredible Tartan Riot and Celtic Flair, our incredible Irish dancers for the evening. So without further ado, I am going to let those guys take it away. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, guys. That was our wonderful dancers, Ellen and Sophie from Celtic Flair, and the fantastic Tartan Riot Band as well, who are providing entertainment for us this evening. If you are just joining us, this is the Shebeen. You're all very welcome. Please do tell us what is in your glass, especially if you've been with us for a while and you've updated and rotated what's in your glass. I'm about to change my pour as well. I am going to change my pour to the Dunville's 19-year Stories and Sips. That is going in my glass for the last half an hour. Who knows how long this will go on for. Tartan Riot and Celtic Flair getting loads of clapped hands emojis in the comments, which is fantastic. I'll share those guys' socials later on as well, so you can go and show them some love. They have been amazing. We'll get another song in from them in the not so distant future. But everyone's very welcome tonight. We are here to, of course, celebrate halfway to St. Patrick's Day, halfway to Whiskey Bus 3, which will traverse the rolling hills and beautiful scenery of Ireland's Wild Atlantic Way next year. 5 seats left. We only have 5 seats left, and then they are gone, and we want them gone before the end of tonight. Barry behind the scenes has hopefully been putting everyone's names who are currently on the Whiskey Bus 3, and anyone who joins, anyone who decides to press that reserve your space button on our website, www.irishwhiskeyexperiences.com. All Whiskey Bussers and only Whiskey Bussers will be entered into a raffle to win a bottle of Gold Spot. So the Gold Spot is the main prize that you'll be after, and then we also have a couple of Irish Whiskey Experiences swag bags going in there as well. Now we are halfway through, maybe halfway through, who knows? We don't know how long these shebeens go on for sometimes when we get into the crack and get into the whiskey. I am going to pull in some reinforcements in the form of my two wonderful colleagues and co-founders of Irish Whiskey Experiences, Barry Chandler and Anthony Sheehy.
How are we?
Hello, lads.
Sláinte.
Sláinte, how are we?
We haven't seen the three of us together since the Whiskey Bus.
No, we haven't been together. Last time we were on live stream was the launch of Irish Whiskey Experiences, launch of the website, wasn't it?
Okay. Yeah, if you say so. I have a bit of a blur around the middle of August. I sort of, anything that happened prior to that, I'm sort of not entirely au fait with. So
Anthony's head is still in the Alps, I'd say. He left half his head is up a mountain somewhere.
There's that as well. Oxygen deprivation, Barry. Oxygen deprivation. You should try it, actually. It's a great way to decompress after the Whiskey Bus. And I mean, anybody out there, anybody wants to suggest holidays for me after Whiskey Bus 3, I'm open to suggestions. It's a great way to enjoy the wild outdoors.
Go from 16 wheels to 2 wheels.
Yeah.
That's a very good way of putting it.
It wasn't any quieter with the helmet on. I thought, it might drown out some of the voices that I have in my head, but no, it didn't. So, no, yeah. It was
Definitely, you should have said the Holy Trinity. Very unfitting with the theme of St. Patrick's Day and Shamrocks.
Together, are you saying that together the three of us make up the Lord himself? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, we're as close to it as we can get.
Just the St. Patrick was telling us.
We're as close to it as we can get. Anthony, what's in your glass? You have a wee glass there, I see.
I do indeed. I actually started off with the Palace 11-year-old from Dunville's, the one that they released at the port. And now I've got a Redbreast 12 cask strength, and it's just to see me off the bed because we did a busy day here in the bar tonight, whatever it is. So I don't think it's going to take a lot to put me to sleep. So that'll be me done.
Very good. Barry, you've got a fair lineup of our stops on Whiskey Bus 3 in front of you there. You're drowning in bottles. I'm
going to move on to JJ Corey's The Gale in honor of our stop in March. The bottle's been a while now draining, but lovely drop, great blended whiskey, and something light and fruity.
Lovely.
Very nice.
I think I
Yep.
saw someone, I think it was Kristen was drinking that earlier as well. It seems to be quite a popular choice of tipple tonight, which is great.
You're doing a great job anyway, Lauren. You're keeping the pace going, and nobody has. It doesn't look like we've had any casualties or fatalities yet.
No, I think we're still alive. Everyone's still good. Everyone's still here, hanging on. Keeping it moving, keeping her ticking, as we say. So I've called in both of you reinforcements to help shift these five seats, 5 spaces on the bus.
I don't think you need us to do anything at all. I'm just here for the spectator sport. I think it is impressive.
There's 5 seats left, and look, we're 6 months out. We know this 5 seats are going to go between now and the bus. We'd obviously like them to go sooner so that we can start selling Whiskey Bus 4, because some of you want to go on to the next one and Whiskey Bus 5. But we have a bit of a rule, which is we're not selling Whiskey Bus 4 till we've sold out Whiskey Bus 3. And I think that's it's important to keep the cash flow positive and not negative. So, but I'm very excited about Whiskey Bus 3 because it takes in what many who know Ireland would regard as the real Ireland. And none of us are from the real Ireland, which is really, I mean, look, we can all claim such great pride in where we grew up, but if you want to showcase the real Ireland people who fly in for the first time, we all send them to Galway, we all send them to the West Coast, we all say, go where it's rugged, go where they sing songs, go where they talk in a different language, go out there and look west and try and pick out New York on the horizon. And I think I'm very excited to explore off peak in the middle of March when it's not going, the sun won't be shining every day. It's okay. We'll have Irish experiences in the Irish weather. And I think it's going to be maybe a very authentically Irish week.
I would 100% agree. I mean, when you drive some of the roads in the west of Ireland, the sparseness, the trees have a hardiness to them. You see them, even them leaning over in the wind and stuff like that. It is really, the Wild West is, I suppose, is very apt for it. But it's so beautiful. I mean, in towns like Westport and Leanon and heading out there, you know, out towards Killary Harbour and that, it's just stunning, absolute stunning scenery. So it really is a true glimpse of Ireland. I mean, anybody who comes over, and then some of the experiences that we've lined up for them, I mean, are just really embellish the whole thing and make it truly, truly exceptional.
Lauren, what are you excited about for Whiskey Bus 3?
Two things that spring to my mind. First of all is the first night, Napo Castle. I think that's just an amazing way to kick off a week of whiskey activities. So that's one. And then the second, it's got to be the parade. I mean, when do you get the chance to take part in a parade? These two shake their heads every single time.
I'm just, my nails are gone. Look, I can't.
Listen, there have been reinforcements taken. Reinforcements have been in place or will be in place to ensure the safety and the structural integrity of the flatbed truck and the safety of all of us. There may be helmets involved, but we'll brand them. Everything will be branded. Will be grand.
I have one minor thing about this. How did we think mixing alcohol and a flatbed trailer on St. Patrick's Day was ever a good idea? I mean, what genius brought up that idea? I mean, just get rid of it.
Nobody said we had good ideas. Nobody ever accused us. We were never accused of having a good idea.
It's just unbelievable.
I mean, we mixed arguably, Lauren on the Lee, which we just had, was slightly more dangerous because anybody could have jumped over the side of that boat. We had there were no restraints in place. We drank the bar dry of Guinness. We were 6 whiskeys deep. Anything could have happened. Arguably, that was more of a risk than a secure, harnessed in, potentially, flatbed truck.
It's the perfect continuation and extension of our wild experiences from Lauren on the Lee to friends on a flatbed. I think this is This is the way we have to keep it going. We have to keep her lit. I was going to say fools on a flatbed, but I wouldn't criticize everybody else. That's just the three of us.
Oh my goodness me, fools on a flatbed. Three fools on a flatbed. That sounds like
Nigel, is there's the questions. Is Nigel driving the vehicle that would be towing the flatbed?
You see,
No.
that's
You
a good
see.
suggestion. That's a
No.
great suggestion. Nigel
No.
navigated some roads that most drivers of cars wouldn't even look at.
And
No,
other
we've
ones
got-
that they could look up, but they couldn't get down. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
We have four Shetland ponies are going to be pulling the flatbed around the roundabout.
Yeah. No.
Oh my goodness me. I'm actually I'm choking myself laughing now. I'm actually really excited for Westport though as well. Like we've got fantastic experiences with Achill Island, of course,
Yep.
going behind the scenes there, and then Clare Island as well with founder Carlo Grady. We have a phenomenal day planned out there with him, and it'll be completely led by him as well. He'll be talking to us about Irish myths and legends, Pirate Queen Grace O'Malley. We'll be enjoying some really, really fresh seafood from the local area as well. That's a great day. That's a fantastic day we have out there, actually.
I've not been to Westport in a long time, and I've never been to Clare Island. I've never been to Achill Island. So it's a lot of, I mean, we'd probably go there before the whiskey bus gets there too. Not to make our lovely guests the guinea pigs as we arrive and go, lads, we've never been here ourselves. I hope you like it though. I'm sure it'll be grand.
It'll be grand.
It'll be grand. Yeah, no, I'm the exact same, Barry. I've never been to either. So I'm very, very excited for that. Actually, I think the Clare Island Day is a great day, a great way to round off the week. And then, of course, if everyone chooses, you can go from not Cork down to Cork for Cork Whiskey Fest at the end of our week.
I think we should promote this heavily because Cork needs our people back. The Shelburne is wondering who's going to clear our shelves again if you don't come back. We have some exclusive. There'll be an exclusive Whiskey Bus experience as part of Cork Whiskey Fest. So if you're not aware, we've timed our bus this year to end the day of the kickoff to Cork Whiskey Fest, which for my money is maybe after their inaugural year last year, maybe leading the pack in terms of great crack whiskey festivals in Ireland. And we're gonna drop those who want to be dropped at the airport in Shannon off at Shannon, and those who are foolhardy enough and brave enough are going to continue on with me down to Cork. And you'll have a chance to join in Cork Whiskey Fest tasting events. There will be an exclusive Whiskey Bus event for those who join, who at no extra cost to yourselves can participate in, and we'll give you some advance notice on some of the tickets for the events that take place as well. We've also got great rates at the Metropole Hotel. Cork Whiskey Fest has got great rates at the Metropole Hotel where the event takes place or is headquartered, and we're sending all those out on our email and also in our social media over the next week. So put your email address in on irishwhiskeyexperiences.com if you haven't already. And it's going to be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. So you can turn your 7 days of a whiskey bus into 10 days of whiskey education. And it's all a tax write-off, apparently. Don't take medical advice or tax advice from me.
Yeah, and I think just to re-emphasize as well, because I did have a few questions about this over the last couple of weeks, there is no additional cost to your whiskey bus price for Cork Whiskey Fest. We're not charging you anything extra. We are simply, as Barry said, facilitating your movement down to Cork if you so wish to take part in Cork Whiskey Festival. So we are not booking any tickets on behalf of anybody or anything like that. So how much you spend, so how much it'll cost you entirely depends on how many events you want to actually book into is the easiest way I can put it. And I think I'll double check this and send it out in a newsletter this week, but I think it's per room per night in the Metropole is €189 if you're attending Cork Whiskey Fest, and you have to ring them. You can't book it online, you have to ring them directly.
It'll be a good time. It'll be a good time.
Greg Anderson has alluded to that Rory is missing us. I don't think anybody in the Shelburne is missing. The late nights are not begging them for more drink. I mean, we done significant damage to the, and they have a fantastic menu of whiskies from all around the world, but we put a significant dent in their stocks. There was quite a few bottle kills.
Quite a few bottle kills. Celtic
There
Cask
were,
won't
and
see the light of day.
I was in there yesterday. Again, the road somehow leads there, and there's no way to avoid it. And I was sitting down under their lovely cabinet in the back right-hand corner, where they have not just the Stories and Sips Dunville's 19-year-old, but they also have Bushmill's 30-year-old, which was famously opened during the Whiskey Bus. Congratulations to our Whiskey Bussers. That was in there. So from 30-year-old Bushmills to 3-year-old whiskey, they have it all inside the Shelburne bar. And that Shelburne will play a part in Cork Whiskey Fest as well. So Troy, we're expecting you to book your ticket for the Whiskey Bus and bring 4 people with you, and that'll close off the bus for us.
In truth, actually, I mean, we should really allocate 4 tickets extra to Troy because of the quantity that he drinks. I mean,
Troy's bored.
He's not normal. He's just not. He's not normal. I'm sorry. There's something wrong with him. He's broken.
We must encourage him, not belittle him.
Sorry. Troy, you're a great lad. I think the sales. I don't think the boat has ever seen sales like that. Ever.
No, the boat. Did you say?
Yeah, the boat.
Yeah. Like, I don't think, like, Barry, you posted yesterday about the people who had hijacked our boat on a River Lee cruise. There's no way they drank the Bar Drive Guinness. No chance.
No, but I was thinking the next time it might be in their interest, rather than having kegs of Guinness, we could just get lines from the Murphy Brewery and attach the lines to the boat. And as we sail down the harbour, just pull the lines behind us and we'll never run out.
Can you imagine? And you're talking about
cables, like laying Atlantic cables, instead we're pulling Murphy's cables behind us.
Oh my word! And just the bus or the boat won't even need to turn. We'll just pull it back using the lines, just to reel it back in. Stop. We learned from Whiskey Bus 1, based on feedback from our guests, what they'd like to see more of in Whiskey Bus 2. I think we incorporated a lot of that. It allowed us to have more non-structured experiences, which were actually turned out to be some of the greatest crack, where we weren't having a tour of a distillery, but we were all hanging out on a boat or in a park or in a bar. Those were great. And we've learned from Whiskey Bus 2 what would additionally work well for Whiskey Bus 3. So each experience we're hoping to layer on what we're learning. And I think Whiskey Bus 3 will be great crack. Galway is going to be amazing. One of my favourite cities. I spent quite a few years living in Galway, and great memories of the place. Get back there as often as I can. I was in Galway 2 nights ago, and it's going to be fantastic what we're going to do in Galway, and to be so central in the heart of Galway, and access to so many great pubs, traditional music, and some distillery and experiences that we haven't yet revealed to happen there as well. It's going to be, people aren't going to want to leave Galway, I'd say, when they get there. Definitely.
I think that's one of the things too, Barry. I mean, even from Whiskey Bus 2, our hotels, our stays were exceptional stays. I mean, Clontarf Castle, the first 2 nights, great location. I mean, the castle itself is gorgeous inside. Faithleg House, I mean, the food in Faithleg House was
amazing.
Exceptional. I don't think any of us can dismiss that. The tasting we had there with Ned from Waterford, and then moving on down into Cork and the Metropole. I mean, the location of the Metropole is literally the centre of the universe in Cork. So we had all the bars around us there, and it was great for people. I know that a lot of the guests as well went out shopping on the days. They could walk to the English market. They could walk to the various stores.
Water Museum.
Yeah, there was raids placed on the number 21 off license at the end of the street. John Kelly, who owns number 21, phoned me to thank me personally, and I sort of went, we didn't do it, and we didn't even point them in that direction. they're like bloodhounds. They sniff it out. They heard there was bottles there that were only available a week, I think, and they're like bloodhounds. They sniffed it out. And John O'Donovan in Irish malts is only recovering now. They've finally got some stock back on the shelves because it was literally a pallet of whiskey arrived to Irish Whiskey Auctions to be shipped. I mean, it was
amazing to see. We haven't yet done a full tally on all the bottles, but we'll share that when we have. You probably have the number.
For tax and revenue purposes, I think there was 3 bottles of whiskey bought.
Just on live, on recording. Just to clarify.
Lauren, what do you say, Lauren, to one more tune from our lovely band before we let them go?
You took the words out of my mouth. I'm going to let them play one last song to round off. We're not necessarily going anywhere. We just can't keep anybody else out of bed because we're mad and they're not. So we can't keep anybody else out of bed longer than that. Before I bring the wonderful guys back on again, I want to share their social media handles. So on Instagram, it's at tartan.riot. And then on Facebook, you can find them just if you type in Tartan Riot. I think we can all agree that they have been absolutely amazing this evening, like absolutely phenomenal. No better people, no better band to play for us on such an occasion. And the Irish dancers from Celtic Flair as well were absolutely fantastic. So if Tartan Riot are ready, we will bring them on for one final tune. I don't know what it's going to be. Might be a surprise. What are you thinking, lads?
Well, we're going to do a song about a big boat. And if you listen to the words, there was a lot on the boat and no wonder it sunk. That's what I'll tell you. You ready for it?
Perfect. Take it away.
In the year of our Lord, 1806, we set sail from the cold key of Cork. Away sailing away with a cargo of bricks for the Grand City Hall in New York. With an elegant craft, she was rigged for an eye. Oh, how the trade wind drove her. She had 23 masts, and she stood several blasts, and they called her the Irish Rover. We had of the best like a rock, we had 2 million barrels of boat. We had 3 million bales of Natty Eagles sails. We had 4 million barrels of oil. We had 5 million hogs and 6 million dogs. 7 million barrels of porter. We had 8 million sides of blind horses' eyes in the hold of the Irish Rover. There was more McGee from the banks of the Lee. We had Hogan from the Leeds to Rome. There was Johnny Parker, who was scared stiff of work, and a chap from Westmeath named Malone. We had Slugger O'Toole, he was drunk as a road, fighting Bill Tracy from Dover. From the banks of the Marne was the skipper of the Irish Rover. We had sailed 7 years when the measles broke out and the ship lost its way in the fog. And the whole of the crew was reduced down to 2, just myself and the captain's wee dog. Then the ship it hit a rock. Lord, what a shock. The boat had it turned right over. Turn 9 times around, and the poor old dog was drowned. Let's hear your dogs. Ow, ow, ow. Sure, I'm the last of the Irish Rover.
see you on Paddy's Day.
Yes,
Here's
absolutely.
Brilliant, guys. Thank you so much, folks. That was the wonderful Barry, Ali, and Brendan from Tartan Riot. Go and show them so much love. That was amazing, folks. Thank you so, so much. And hopefully you'll make it stateside someday with some of these guys. Thank you,
Brilliant.
folks. Good night. Thank you. Brilliant. Brilliant. They were fantastic.
Amazing. So good. So good.
Absolutely
You
brilliant.
could listen to them all night. If it wasn't a Sunday night and it was a school night, you'd be tapping your toes another hour.
Who knows? We might find them. We might find them somewhere in Belfast, round and about. I'll seek out their schedule.
Is there something happening in Belfast?
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I don't think I told you. Must have slipped my mind during the week. Yes, there is a whiskey weekend that is happening in Belfast from the 3rd to the 5th of November. We are bringing some locals from Cork. We're going from Cork to not Cork again for a Belfast whiskey weekend. So 2 nights in the city. We're going to hit up all the whiskey bars that we all know and love. The Duke, the Garrick, Bittles, Madden's, Harp Bar, all the usual haunts for some exclusive tastings, some exclusive access to the friend at hand, and two wonderful new distilleries that have opened in Belfast or will have opened in Belfast within 3 months of each other. So very excited about that.
So that goes live later this week. We will be putting this live, and the goal of these 2-day whiskey buses is, or 3-day whiskey buses, 3-day weekends, is to go point to point. So city to city. So we're starting off with Cork to Belfast. So it doesn't mean that if you're from Dublin or Galway that you can't join us. You can, you just find your own way to Belfast. But we'll be running our whiskey bus from our starting city back to that city again. So this time we're starting with Cork. Very selfishly, we're starting with Cork so that it'll just bring me to Belfast and then and 30 of my closest friends, and then back to Cork again on Sunday. And I think it's a model I'm very interested in seeing how it works, because I think there's great demand for those who are visiting Ireland in the middle of a vacation from the United States to join us. I think it's a great opportunity for those who are in Dublin who may not have any reason to get to Belfast or maybe can't get a full weekend planned or put together like we're going to put together. Or if you're in Galway, maybe you want to go to Dublin for a whiskey weekend. So we're going to create these whiskey weekends throughout the year, and they're going to alternate in different months depending on when there's big whiskey buses, small whiskey buses that we'll have. In an ideal world, the year will be full of whiskey buses of all different shapes and sizes, right?
Absolutely. I mean, think of how many are in the planning for next year. 1 of our own accord and 2 off the back of Whiskey Bus 2. We've had a few pubs across the US inquire about hosting their own private whiskey bus, which is fantastic. And again, it just goes to show that you folks, everyone who supports Irish Whiskey Experiences, who supports Stories and Sips, who's in Irish Whiskey Fans of America, you posting, you spreading the word, you talking about your trips really does help us and support us and bring us to more people who want to see Ireland in a way that we can offer. So we're very appreciative of that. And yeah, listen, we'll be kept busy next year, that's for sure.
Hopefully, yeah. Very busy, hopefully. And great to see such interest in the world of Irish whiskey for us all visiting, and you as a community, as Lauren said, have just shown great support for the whiskey industry, and we've heard it every day since. I was at a drinks forum conference during the week and couldn't move for people saying loved what you were doing at the whiskey bus, or want you to come to us next time, or was following along day by day to your social media, and everyone was just so supportive of it. And it's great to see that maybe there's just a meeting of thirst and trips all coming together in the little whiskey bus and the other experiences too, which is great.
Absolutely. And it's the people and the brands who just get it and who just understand the type of experience that we're trying to offer, the people that we bring who are so interested in just diving that a little bit deeper into the stories and about the brand, about the people, the area itself. And it's kind of very reassuring to us when we meet people like that from brands who do understand our mission and our aim. So yeah, very, very positive. What are you reaching for now?
Just reminded that, you mentioned something earlier about Napo Castle.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you join us on Whiskey Bus 3, like that's the bottle. You're going to have a bottle of 1951 Napo Castle, 1951. Here's an empty one. Oh, there's a little dribble in that. Look at the dribble. That's I have to drown that or down that dribble. This was from our whiskey tasting we did earlier this year with Napo Castle with Stories and Sips, and there's going to be one of these opened for our Whiskey Bus. 1951, folks, like 73 years ago. By that time, this will have been distilled. 73 years. There'll be very few people on the Whiskey Bus who are even a twinkle in their parents' eye back then when this was distilled, single pots of whiskey. To think you're going to taste this in Napo Castle itself in County Clare, just minutes from Shannon Airport, is unbelievable, because I was reminded of that looking at the back of the Napo Castle bottle I have here, which is a 12-year-old cask strength version of Napo Castle, which is all first fill bourbon barrels. There's so many great whiskeys we're going to have along the way. I know we talk about experiences, we talk about craic, we talk about pubs, we talk about visiting places, but hard not to forget just the great whiskeys that we're going to have along the way too, and that come out of all of these places that we're going to, which is just amazing.
Absolutely. And I think that the whiskies that we've mentioned and that we will taste as well from the relevant brands, I think Lisa said something earlier, which is so true. They do mean so much more when you drink them with a blender, with a founder of that brand or someone who is linked very heavily into the brand. It just makes them that little bit more special to really enjoy them and savor them in that moment, as I said, with a blender, whoever it might be, and with your newfound friends that either you've known pre-Whiskey Bus or you've made along the way on the Whiskey Bus as well. So yeah, I mean, it's that, the likes of Lisa and Troy, they speak for themselves about their experiences and how special it is as well. And if you join us, whether it be on a Whiskey Bus or any of our other experiences, we can guarantee you'll have the time of your life.
We've introduced some signature elements to our Whiskey Buses, which will become apparent on Whiskey Bus 3 as well. Things that maybe made an appearance in Whiskey Bus 2 that might make an appearance in Whiskey Bus 3. You'll see that in Whiskey Bus 3. We won't give too much away. We're still finalising some of the details on day parts within the Whiskey Bus, which we'll share when we have them as well. But Galway especially, there's some things, moving pieces there that are starting to come together in a really nice way that involve the two Galway distilleries, Ahaskra and Mickle as well. So we'll have more news on that as we can share it. Matt says he wishes more American Irish whiskey consumers knew of Napo Castle. There is an effort to make that the case now that Napo Castle is part of Irish Distillers, and there will be a big push on this in the United States. They're trying to figure out their strategy, but there are plans. There are big plans for Napo Castle, and Middleton Distillery, who matures Napo, takes the new make spirit from the distillery on the north coast and brings it down to the distillery on the south coast, and matures it for its entirety and vats it and does the marrying and finishing all in Middleton Distillery. They're now the owners of the brand as well. So they've always had a hand in it, but now they have ownership in it, even though they don't distill it, which is an interesting one for Middleton Distillery. But great whiskies anyway. I've always been a big fan of them. And we'll crack open some good ones when we get inside that castle.
Absolutely. Matt has put it so perfectly there. The sips are delicious. The stories make it memorable. That's a really, really good. Can we steal that? That's our tagline. Write it down, trademark it.
New tagline. That's it. New stories and sips tagline. Stealing it. I just bought the domain.
Domain bought within 20 seconds. It's so true though. Like I feel, and I think I said this last week when we were chatting about Killarney, that people will remember the person and the experience more than anything else. Like if you make a real impression on someone, people will never forget that. They'll arguably remember how they felt and how you were, how the person was, more than the actual information itself,
Yeah.
which is fine. It's fine. It's usually always the case. But it's just, it's backing up what Matt said there.
We have some amazing chances on Whiskey Bus 3, maybe even more so than previous Whiskey Buses, where we're going to be meeting not just a master at their craft, but the creator of the company, in the sense of, I'm thinking now about all of our stops, and in virtually all of our stops, we're going to be meeting the people who have built their distillery or their brand from the ground up. Like, it was an idea at one point somewhere in a coffee shop, in a over a kitchen table, while on a train. And we're going to be meeting people like Nick Ryan, founder of Tolman Gate Whiskey. And Nick Ryan, I remember when Nick first came up with his idea for Tolman Gate, and meeting with him probably 6 or 7 years ago. We had a 2 hour, I remember where I was weeding the garden, living in Columbus, Ohio, weeding the garden for 2 hours while I was on the phone with Nick. I never did I do more gardening that day than talking to Nick. So while we had my AirPods in, chatting away, I'm doing all the weeding, talking away to Nick. We talked for hours about his plans for Tolman Gate, and his plans to bring distilling back to Limerick, and his stair-stepping approach to do that. And he's well on the way to doing it. We're going to meet Nick. We're going to spend time with him. And you're going to, I mean, what a great thing to meet the people who have this vision and have risked it all. Their family's money, their family's time, their resources. Always use the phrase, they invest time, talent, and treasury in trying to get something done. And us supporting them means the world to them. And I know that it means the world to you to get to meet them as well. And one of the bits of feedback from Whiskey Bus 2 was how great it was to meet the people whose sweat and tears had gone into that whiskey. Now, you won't ever find those on the ingredients on the label, but they're in there. They're definitely in there.
Blood, sweat, and tears. It's so true, actually. And Nick is a fascinating person. We'll be seriously well looked after and entertained that day that we spend with him in Limerick. I've chatted to him already about the plans he has for us, and let me tell you, that's a full day in the best possible way. He's so passionate and he's so knowledgeable about everything to do with Limerick, its distilling history, home of the Irish coffee, as I said earlier as well. He's so interested in all of that, and it really does shine through in everything he does and what he says. And you've got Nick Ryan, you've got Louise McGuan from JJ Corey, you've got Carl O'Grady from Clare Island as well. Really, really interesting characters, and a really nice mix as well, actually, of people.
I know, and even in Galway, like when we go to Galway, you're going to find that we're going to be spending time with founders as well, and those who've put their money, other people's money, where their vision is, which is going to be fantastic as well. When we go to Achill Island, you're going to meet the family that have started the first ever island whiskey distillery. So the first ever whiskey that was distilled on an island. Now you might say Ireland is an island, but even within Ireland we have islands, and Achill Island is the first one to have produced whiskey. And Achill Island single malt is on the market at the moment. So we're going to meet the family behind Achill Island Distillery as well, Irish American Distillery, which is amazing. So there's a great mixture. Like, it's just a great mixture. And we'll probably have some Whiskey Bus ponchos or something, should there be a bit of rain, maybe a branded umbrella or something.
Yeah, Lisa said earlier, Troy said earlier about the 2 Whiskey Buses have had perfect weather throughout all 7 days of the experience, which is true. Both years there was not a single drop of rain anywhere. We can guarantee you that will not be the case for March on the west of Ireland. It's going to be probably cold, windy, wet, but listen, that doesn't dampen the spirit. Doesn't dampen the spirit.
No, it'll push us to more spirits, is what it'll do.
Yeah. Refuge in a pub, absolutely. Only way to do it.
And let us know, folks, if there's things you want to do when you come to Ireland that we haven't thought of with Irish Whiskey Experiences as well. And Lauren will be put to hard work to figure all them out for you as well. So lots of other experiences. We won't belabor the point, but there's a lot there on irishwhiskeyexperiences.com. Individual day-long experiences, couple of hours experiences, or this week we'll have our 2-day experience to Belfast will be live, and our Whiskey Bus 3, of course, is live there as well. And in 2024, we hope to have in total probably 3 public whiskey buses that we know of, maybe 2 to 3. We're still figuring that out. We've got a few private whiskey buses we're working on as well for individuals who wanted one for their pub or their whiskey club, and we have a few more inquiries on those as well. So looking forward to showcasing Ireland to more and more people. I'm very proud when I see people smiling and beaming and light bulbs going off and people just giddy with excitement at our little country. It's a great source of pride. Great source of pride.
It's that's what I said earlier about St. Patrick's Day. Like, I know we joke about it and about how we don't need our egos inflated anymore, that we're one of the most loved nations in the world, but it does genuinely warm your heart when you see the love and the passion that people have for Ireland, and they come back year after year to experience different parts of the island or a certain part that they've fallen in love with. It's really special. It does make us very, very happy, and that's our aim, really. Like, even in my days as a tour guide, the aim was to just put a smile on people's faces and make them a little bit happier leaving than they did entering, whether it be a building, a distillery, or the island in general. So yeah, it's really nice. It's a privilege.
It's going to be great. What have we missed?
What have we missed? We'll announce. Will we do the raffle winners tomorrow? I think that makes the most sense. We'll put everybody's names.
Yeah, let's do that
tomorrow. We'll announce it in the group. We'll maybe announce it via a newsletter.
Yeah,
a bit of
we
information about Cork Whiskey Fest. We'll figure it out. We'll announce it tomorrow anyway. Definitely. Troy's still there. I don't know what he's doing in the background.
You can see the pub in the background there.
He's on about the chaos. Is he serving pints there? No, he's not. He's working hard or hardly working.
We better take him off the screen in case there's illegal alcoholic activity taking place.
any expletives flying out of the bar there. Such a surprise seeing Lisa. That was brilliant. That was great.
You've done a great job tonight of hosting and carrying the torch for all things Shebeen. Fair play to you. Great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's been most enjoyable sitting back here, just playing sound engineer and comment putter. That's been a load off my mind.
Don't get used to it. No, it was great. It was great fun. I mean, it's great to chat all things Irish whiskey experiences, all things Ireland in general, and the guests helped me massively. Like, Tart and Riot were amazing. Troy was great crack as well. Certainly, it was great fun. I enjoyed it.
If I think back a few months ago when you started on Irish Whiskey Experiences, and I mentioned you coming on the Shebeen, you were aghast at the thought of even coming on as a co-host, and now look at you. You're putting me out of work by hosting. I'll be down the dole queue in the morning collecting my dole after your hosting tonight. But I think you've done a great job. It's great to see the passion that you have for Irish whiskey and for the people, and obviously our community are very enamored, and they enjoy spending time in your company, and so it comes across really well. And a really great hosting job. You should take a bow. You should take a bow.
I'll maybe start Irish dancing, or I'll just reserve that for in person on experiences. You
can't be a double threat, or a triple threat. A dancer, a host. Although you're not a singer, as you said.
No, although I can. I've told you this before. I can rap. I can.
She says she can. She's never told us. She's never.
I can, but most of the raps that I would know and listen to are probably not appropriate for the Shebeen or any other experience.
We're all waiting. Well, it's an easy claim, I happen to be a world-class ballerina. I just don't do it publicly or in front of anybody else. But you're just going to have to take my word on it. I'm a world-class ballerina.
I'll wrap in Belfast. I'll find a suitable area. I'll see if I can take over the microphone in the Duke of York.
I'll be hiding behind a bottle like this.
Waiting to upload the TikTok for it to go viral of me rapping in the corner. No,
My money don't jiggle, it rolls. My money don't.
I was thinking a bit of Eminem or Nicki Minaj or something, but we can do that as well. Louis through. What was I going to say? You said something there about the community. I mean, I've said this so many times, even before I joined Irish Whiskey Experiences. Genuinely, the community bar that you've built with Irish Whiskey Fans of America and Stories and Sips, even with my previous career and previous role, was the most supportive group of people ever. Like you know, everyone's just so positive, so supportive. Of anyone that shows them a bit of love, and it's so nice to see. It's such a nice transactional kind of relationship that brands and people have with the community, that, you know, you show them a bit of support, bit of love, and that they'll support you forever, which is so nice. And I always do feel very supported and very loved within the group, which is lovely. It makes my job a lot easier. So it doesn't go unnoticed. All the comments, all the tags. So it's very, very nice. It's really nice. Greg's nailed it there. Shebeen there, done that. That's two fantastic puns we've had tonight. A three-peat and Shebeen there, done that. That is amazing.
Knocking them off the list. Knocking them off.
Shebeen there, done that. Oh, amazing.
Well, Sinead, is it? It was not my place to say that tonight, of course, but like that's somebody else's.
Troy did say he was going to come on and say bye, but I think he looks very busy. Up for the Belfast trip. Barney, absolutely. Keep an eye out on Irish Whiskey Experiences website this week, and you'll see that link go live for sure. We've got a fantastic weekend pulled together in a very short space of time, might I add, which is great.
Yeah, and we'll take votes, or we'll take requests on where we should go next for our next whiskey weekend too, because we haven't even thought about them.
Absolutely. So Belfast is going to kind of be the guinea pig, which I have great faith in. Obviously, I don't think I need to express my love for Belfast on here. Belfast and Cork are my two favourite cities in Ireland for a night out, hands down. I think they're the two most kind of crack-filled weekends and pub experiences that you can have. So I have great faith in Belfast being the guinea pig for the model of the whiskey weekends.
So maybe the next one is Belfast to Cork then.
Do it the other way. There's a reverse, flip it and reverse it. Belfast to Cork. Yeah, I mean,
you can rally the troops locally in Belfast. You can stand with a sandwich board in the Cathedral Quarter and just fill a bus.
Willie Jack will be charging me for advertising in his territory. Stop.
It's a great comment there. Thanks, Matt. First, Shebeen.
Glad you enjoyed.
I mean, to be fair, Matt, if you joined any other Shebeen where I was hosting, it would have been only a subpar experience, to be fair. So you did pick the best one to join, where there was actually a bit of talent hosting it and not some chancer. Fair play.
Stop.
You got lucky.
Hopefully we can live up to the standards from here on out, Matt, definitely. But thank you for joining. It's great to see that we still have newcomers to the Shebeen. Brilliant.
Folks, if we didn't touch on it earlier on because we took over the Shebeen with Irish Whiskey Experience tonight, but a couple of stories in Sips Whiskey Club, just really quick updates for those who are still here. So I run the Stories and Sips Whiskey Club, and we've got unique whiskey releases and collaborations with distilleries and brands in Ireland. And we're hoping in the next maybe 4 weeks to have a proper announcement of the details of a collaboration with W.D. O'Connell. And we're coming up on 2 years of a whiskey club. And, for 2 years, you'd almost need 2 bottles. So all I'm saying is, there could be 2 bottles for 2 years from W.D. O'Connell, and I'm excited about announcing those 2 great casks that I chose last week, and I'm excited to get them into your hands. So that's what's coming up. We've also got a blind tasting coming up in the month of October, and we will be announcing that in the coming week. and we've got a great Meet the Maker event coming up as well in September. So storiesandslips.com if you want to join our club. Just go to storiesandslips.com/club and you can be part of our experiences that we host every month there. It just costs you $20 a month and you're in. You can leave anytime, come and go as you please. And we just have a great time. We've got some great collaborations coming up, and we're working on the W.D. O'Connell release, and then we're working on another whiskey before the end of the year as well that you're going to play a hand in yourselves. So that's going to be an exciting one. And then working on 8 whiskies for 2024 at the moment. 8 whiskies in 2024. 8 whiskies and 4 tasting kits. So that gives you 12 months. And a lot of great brands lining up with tasting kits for us. And we have, where's my little kit? Oh, I might as well, I can show a few of you here. So this is just a prototype kit, but this is a custom designed kit that is being designed up with obviously our colors and branding, etc. But it might not look like anything fancy from here, but inside there's a custom designed foam that has been tested to have a forklift drive over it, have a car reverse over it, drop from 3 stories out of a building onto the ground. It's got foam underneath it, foam on top, rigid foam to hold the bottles, and this will be our little Stories and Sips tasting kit going forward, and it'll arrive at your door, and it'll probably be able to fit into your letterbox, which is fantastic. And this will have your Stories and Sips tasting kits, shipping label on the front, beautifully designed on the inside, and 3 samples of whiskey in every box. They'll be coming your way. First one either the end of this year or the start in January of 2024. So that's what's coming. That's what we're working on. This was custom design. This took months to custom design. It might not look like it from there, but we went through so many prototypes. It may not be, nobody's fainting at the quality of it over the camera, I'm sure. But trust me when I say, like, you cannot break the corners in this thing. Like, I think I'd struggle to crack these glasses. Anyway, that's
Richard
coming.
just said Lauren tested with the forklift. Yes, that's absolutely why I was using the forklift with Dahi that day. Also, Marty, who gave you the idea of 2 bottles for 2 years? I wonder.
The 2 bottles were already decided, and then you threw that line on top of it. You were like, "Oh, you mean 2 bottles, 2 years?" I'm like, "Yeah, definitely. That's what I meant. Yeah."
Okay, we'll go with that. Going to say something there. I can't even remember what it was now. Something about whiskey tastings. I'm looking forward to the blind tasting because I think it just solidifies that none of us actually know what we're talking about.
That's right. That's
and
right.
You doubt everything you've ever learned about Irish whiskey in a blind tasting. Everything ever. It's quite funny.
Yeah, that's coming up. One of the hosts is just on his honeymoon, so he's just coming back next week, and then we'll be able to get him booked into the tasting to host it. So stay tuned on that. And that's it for Stories and Sips. Does it float, Barry, says Greg. Greg, you know what? Now, we didn't test the floatability of it, to be fair. That's one stress test that was not on the radar.
If it falls, Greg's just thinking if it falls off the side of a Cork Harbour cruise, would it survive? Could it be retrieved from the water?
I think it's the most floatable thing I've ever seen, because, like, if you take it apart, so there's foam, 3 layers of foam. Like, this is a serious business. Like, we're not messing around here. Like, this is.
Hold on. There we go.
All right. So see the cuts. Now, and then you see the way it sits, kind of just proud of it there. But then this goes on top of the 3 of them, and this is more foam. And then there's the lid. Like, I mean, we're not messing around here. We're putting 90% of our annual budget for Stories and Sips into foam. We've left nothing for whiskey. We have the best foam packages, but we won't be able to afford the whiskey to go into them.
Swings and roundabouts. Oh dear me. I don't know. Will we bring? I mean, I think I've certainly covered everything from my side, with experiences in St. Patrick's Day and all that. Troy, I don't know if he's too busy to come and say goodbye. I see Lisa. Let me see if he's there. At least it's still there. Oh, where's the video gone?
Looks like the feed is gone.
Let me see. Yeah.
They're probably breaking licensing rules somehow. So they decided best to kill the feed.
He's grand then. Just to share his socials, it is at Rambling In and then the Rambling In on Facebook if anybody wants to show Troy some love, or if anyone needs a mobile Irish pub, he is your guy, especially if you're based in Connecticut and surrounding areas. He is the one to go for.
Troy mentioned earlier that he had been on a personal tour of Middleton not so long ago. Like he got his own tour. Nobody in Middleton expected Troy to show up, but Troy showed up and got that. I think Troy asked for that private behind the scenes thing, and he's the kind of guy when you see all 6'8" of him, you tend not to say no to him. So that's probably how he got the tour.
I was going to re-emphasize that as well. Like, you can't just show up on distillery doors and expect these kind of experiences. He was chancing his arm.
Lloyd drives a forklift and says that's not going to hold up to a fork or a Ford. Look, if we're throwing this underneath a 1,400-pound machine, we may be in trouble, admittedly. But we'll take our chances. This is I've shipped thousands and thousands of boxes over the past 5 years, and none of them have been as well designed as this. And so touch wood that this. Look, put it this way. This is as good as the Irish packaging industry was able to figure out. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we tried so many prototypes, and eventually they're like, all right, we have it. We actually have it. We figured it out. So we'll see how we go. The proof's in the pudding.
Troy's just come back in again. Don't know if he's there. Greg is on fire with the puns tonight. Troy rambled on. Something must be in the water tonight with all these puns, honestly. This is amazing. Stacey and Greg are definitely winning the pun competition. Very punny.
Thanks, Matt, for the kind comments there.
Yes,
and Kristen for vigorously and vociferously defending all things foam in the comments as well. Thanks, Kristen. Can we get a video of Lauren driving a forklift? We probably can.
Yes, you can. If you look at my Instagram, it's on there, Whiskey Lauren, and I think it made its way into Fans of America. Might be harder to find on there with 10,000 people, but if you look at my Instagram, Whiskey Lauren, you'll find it under, or no, behind. I think it's alongside a photo of Dahi. Yes, that was good fun. Lifted a barrel onto a rack. Don't know why I thought that was a good idea.
I have it here.
Stop it. Are you gonna hold on. There we are. There we go. Barrel secured.
Driving's a big word.
Driving is driving is a big word. Yes, it is. Oh dear me! I manoeuvred very mildly a forklift truck. Here, listen, Dahi's lucky with his free labour. He got me to lift a barrel on the rack, and he got 40 odd people to bottle some whiskey.
That's true. But you look, Sinead indeed. Lauren, I'll leave it to you to decide how this show ends, but I have nothing more to contribute, or nothing entertaining or educational to add to tonight's performance.
How do we wrap it up? Well, hope everybody enjoyed, first of all, and most importantly. I think we'll agree Tartan Riot, Celtic Flair, our band, and subsequent dancers were amazing. Troy and Lisa, which was a lovely surprise, were great former Whiskey Bus guests, ex-Whiskey Bussers, possibly future Whiskey Bussers as well. It was lovely to have them on as well. And yeah, I hope everybody had good fun. I hope everyone had good crack. Please, if you are contemplating Whiskey Bus, any Whiskey Bus, but in particular Whiskey Bus 3, just know that we will go above and beyond to make sure that you have an experience that you will never forget, and we'll give you something special that has never been done before and is off the beaten path of the usual kind of public access and public tours where we can. So 5 seats left. Don't miss out. If you're thinking about it, do it. It'll be worth it. www.irishwhiskeyexperiences.com is our website. You can reserve your place on there and find a full itinerary of the 7 days of our Wild West whiskey bus. I'll be there. Barry will be there. Anthony will be there as well. We're great fun, promise. And we'll look after you and we'll have great crack. And that is where I'm going to leave it.
Great job, Lauren.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad you enjoyed.
And we'll leave it at that. Thanks everybody for joining, and Lauren, thanks for having me as a guest. And I look forward to you doing this every week. Bye.
Sludge, everybody. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.